All right, let's talk about work. We're all living in this age of constant pings, dings, notifications, this pressure to be on all the time. But what if I told you the real secret to getting ahead isn't about doing more, but actually doing less? Just, doing it more deeply. We're about to explore a huge idea that could honestly change the way you think about your work forever. So just try to imagine the pressure for a second. You have to write the final chapter of maybe the most beloved book series of all time. Millions of people are literally waiting. And at home, well, life is happening. For J.K. Rowling, the answer was kind of extreme. She checked herself into a 5-star hotel suite in Edinburgh, not for spa day, but to find the absolute silence and focus she needed to land the plane on Harry Potter. This wasn't just an escape. It was a deliberate, powerful move to find that deep focus. In Rowling's story, it really shines a light on a problem that all of us are facing, maybe on a slightly less, magical scale. Our whole work culture seems to celebrate being visibly busy. You've seen it, right? Constantly checking email, being active on Slack, jumping from meeting to meeting. But here's the question. Does all that frantic activity actually equal productivity, or are we just performing busyness? To really answer that, we have to understand that there are two totally different ways of working. On one side, you've got deep work. This is when you're in the zone, distraction-free, pushing your brain to its limits. This is where the real value gets created. And on the other side, well, there's shallow work. These are the logistical, simpler tasks you can do while you're distracted. Think, firing off emails or scheduling yet another meeting. Still think all that shallow work is kind of harmless? Well, get this. Back in 2012, the CTO of Atlantic Media actually did the math. He calculated what his company was spending in salary just for employees to process emails. And the result? Over $1 million a year. That free and frictionless communication, as he called it, had the hidden cost of a company jet. Wow. So here's the real kicker. Shallow work feels productive. It makes you feel busy, but it doesn't really move the needle. It doesn't make you any better at what you do, and it sure doesn't lead to any big breakthroughs. It's like this administrative quicksand that can just suck up your entire day if you're not careful. And this is where things get really important, because this isn't just about being a little more productive. In today's economy, the ability to actually focus is becoming one of the most valuable and rarest skills you can possibly have. Honestly, we're talking about staying relevant here. A couple of MIT economists, Brynjolfsson and McAfee, they call the era we're living in the Great Restructuring. Basically, technology and smart machines are advancing so fast that they're splitting the job market in two. Some jobs are getting automated or outsourced, while a whole different set of jobs are becoming more valuable than ever before. So in this new economy, they argue that three groups are really going to thrive. First, the people who can work creatively with intelligent machines. Second, the superstars, the people who are the absolute best at what they do. And third, the owners, the folks with access to capital. Now, unless you've got a secret for finding a ton of capital, your best bet is to be in those first two groups. And what do they both require? The ability to learn hard things fast and produce work at an elite level. And this quote just nails why being a superstar is so critical now. An economist named Shervin Rosen talked about winner-take-all markets, where there's this massive premium on being the best. And thanks to technology, more and more fields are becoming winner-take-all. Being just pretty good isn't good enough anymore. Okay, so if the problem is this massively distracted world and the stakes are basically our economic survival, what's the solution? Well, it's about cultivating a kind of superpower that the most successful people have been quietly using for centuries. Let's just look at this definition one more time because it's so important. Deep work is the thing that lets you learn hard stuff quickly and produce really high-quality results. It's the state where you're actively getting better at your skills, creating new value, and doing things that are super hard for other people or even machines to replicate. And what's so wild is when you look back, you see this practice everywhere among top performers. Back in 1922, the psychiatrist Carl Jung literally built a stone tower just to have a retreat for focused thinking. Woody Allen wrote 44 films on a manual typewriter, totally free of any digital distraction. And even J.K. Rowling, in one of her very first tweets, said that pen and paper were her priority. They all got it. They understood the power of disconnecting in order to create. Okay, so here's the good news. You don't need a stone tower or a 5-star hotel to get started with this. You just need the right strategies. So let's dive into a practical toolkit that you can literally start using today. First things first, you have to ritualize it. See, the key to being consistent isn't willpower. Willpower is a finite resource, it runs out. The real key is building habits and rituals that make deep work a regular, automatic part of your schedule. A perfect example of this is Jerry Seinfeld's method for writing jokes. He said, look, to be a better comic, you have to write better jokes. And the only way to write better jokes is to write every single day. So his ritual was simple. Get a huge wall calendar. For every day that you do the work, you put a big red X on that day. After a few days, you've got a chain. And then your only job becomes, don't break the chain. It is so simple, it's visual, and it's incredibly powerful. All right, next up. If you've got a really important project, you might need to try a grand gesture. This is all about sending a powerful signal to your brain that says, hey, this thing we're doing right now is really important. It means making a radical change to your environment or investing some serious time or money to get a task done. We already saw J.K. Rowling do this with her hotel room, right? But for an even more extreme example, listen to this. An entrepreneur named Peter Shankman had to write a book on a 2-week deadline. So what did he do? He booked a round-trip business class ticket to Tokyo. He wrote the entire flight there and the entire flight back. He landed 30 hours later with a finished book. He said that $4,000 trip was worth every single penny for the guaranteed, uninterrupted focus. Now, I can hear you thinking, that's great, but I don't have hours and hours of uninterrupted time. Well, you know who else didn't? One of America's most productive presidents when he was a student at Harvard. This strategy is for anyone out there who feels like their schedule is just too chopped up for deep work. See, when he was at Harvard, Roosevelt was into everything. Boxing, science, you name it. He actually only studied for about a quarter of the day. But during those short, little fragmented blocks of time he would work with what a biographer called blistering intensity. He proved that you don't actually need long days, you just need intensely focused intervals. So we've got the strategies, but it's so important to understand that this is way more than just another productivity hack. This is really a path toward a more meaningful and, frankly, more satisfying life. Think about a master woodworker for a minute. Their satisfaction comes from using their skill to reveal the potential that's hidden inside a piece of wood. The meaning is in the craft itself. Well, deep work lets knowledge workers, whether you're a programmer, a marketer, a scientist, tap into that exact same feeling of craftsmanship. The goal isn't just to invent meaning out of thin air, but to cultivate the skill to see the meaning that's already there in your work. And at the end of the day, that is the ultimate payoff. This isn't about running away from the modern world. It's about engaging with it on a much deeper level. By pushing your mind to its absolute limits to create things that actually matter, you end up building a life that isn't just productive, but one that is deeply meaningful. So I'll just leave you with this one question to think about. We've seen how shallow work can cost a company's bottom line. But what's the hidden cost of a life that's built on distraction? What's it costing your skills, your potential, and maybe most importantly, your sense of fulfillment? Something to chew on.